Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. Now, your host, Ace.
Welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. I'm your host, Ace. We got Malik and Ant.
What up? What up? What up? What up?
What's going on, everybody?
It was very Martin Payne like. It was very
Martin in pain.
reminds me of Martin Payne the show.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
that's what I thought about when I was saying
what's good, everybody?
This is good to see you all again. We had our little spring break, so to speak.
it.
Yep.
Watching
Spring break and we didn't tell nobody.
watching Duke lose. Well, they'll be checking for us when we pop back up on their timeline. When they're seeing the tweets and seeing the clips and hearing the clips from us. We are going to be getting into the NFL draft. We are going to be getting into the NCAA tournament title games and the recap of that, which I thoroughly enjoyed watching Duke lose the way that they did, although it was unfortunate to see Houston lose. And we're going to be getting into the NBA playoffs. And also, I want to specifically talk about John Morant and his lack of care for his own wallet that he seems to just not give a damn about.
Oh, you mean by him revisiting the same BS that the NBA came after him before 2 years ago?
Well, when they came after him 2 years ago, it was actual guns. Now he's just out there like a little kid doing fake, finger guns all the time. And then he threw a grenade the other day.
Yeah, he's
I
helping out
think
the
it was
meme people out
funny.
there, the people that like to
And
make,
I'm like,
make memes.
he is great in memes. He's also $75,000 at a time. And usually I'm with the criticizing the NBA for people doing too much in terms of coming down on the players. But my man,
Yeah,
you're a different case.
see, that's why he stay in school.
He did stay in school. He was in school for 2 years actually on a mediocre team, but I don't know. He ain't step up yet to become a star. But if they get him out of the second round, that'll be. I don't even think he's gotten Memphis past the second round yet. He's turning into a young James Harden.
I
But
don't
that's
think
neither
that
here nor
it's not that bad. I won't say it's that bad yet.
there. I
Um,
mean, listen, he's
You mean
he's,
for
he's only
James Harden?
25, so he's got a lot of time.
no,
Yeah,
enough.
James
No,
Harden's
enough.
only
I'm
been
saying
to the
for
conference finals once.
yeah, I'm talking about for Morant.
Yeah,
Morant's been he's young. He's still young. Still got plenty of time to get it right. You know, you just
yeah.
gotta you just gotta work on that. That's all. But I mean, I don't know how where you wanted to start at. So if you wanted to start with Ja, we could start with Ja. But in terms of
Yeah, we're talking about Ja a little bit. We're gonna start with the NFL draft here, though. We're gonna go
Okay.
through y'all mock drafts and who y'all got going with this first overall pick. And I'm gonna go to you here with Tennessee. Who do you think? Who do you think they're gonna end up taking? Or is there
Oh,
any
Cam.
even concern that Cam
uh,
Ward is not gonna be that guy?
Yeah, it's basically Cam Warner right now, unless we wait to the last minute, and all of a sudden some news come out of nowhere and stuff like that. And you just gotta look at Mel Kiper changes all of a sudden his mock all of a sudden. But it's gonna be Cam Ward. He's the consistent. He's the number one pick right now until somebody say so, something different.
I don't think he can play his way out of it, but I think they're talking themselves into him as opposed to him really being that dude as opposed to last year. Because if he was here last year, he would be. I think the Jets would have taken him. Let's just put it like that.
Not really. We still had Aaron
They
Rodgers
would have
back
had the.
then.
No, I mean they would have had the fifth pick.
Yeah, but it just still wouldn't take him. They needed an offense. They need a left tackle. When I was
They still
most of
need
the
a
people
left
I see,
tackle.
no, we don't. We already got a left tackle. But as far as for Cameron Ward, basically they from what I've been seeing, they basically had him ahead of JJ. They had him ahead of what's the name, that guy from Denver as well. If he was
Yeah, they're comparing him to Bo Nix.
right, if he came out last year, he would have been ahead of Bo Nix as far as for ranking.
Mm, I see it.
yeah, I think he would have been. Honestly, I think it would have been between him and Drake May. He'd probably be a Patriot at this point right now if he came out last year versus this year. It'd probably been between those two guys. Um, and if I'm not mistaken, Drake May had less experience at the quarterback position than Cam Ward does coming into this situation. So that would have been another reason that I would think Cam Ward would have been a selection. I think he would have been third behind Caleb and Jaden Daniels. I think he would have been the third quarterback on the list, coming into this one. So, yeah, but I agree with you, Ant. Cam Ward, number one to Tennessee. Um, all things considered, I mean, he had his pro day, what was that, a week ago? About a week and a half ago.
Right.
Um, and all things that came out of that was he is exactly who everybody thought he was in terms of his arm strength, the accuracy, the
You like the
you
poise of
know,
him too. Like,
yeah, his poise
yeah,
in the pocket. I mean, again, he's a 5-year player, so he's been around the block. He's played in multiple different systems as well. So, he's got all of he's not just have the physical tools. It's more like the more than the player just having the physical tools and just being like just kind of wowing everybody, but it's also the experience and the poise and all of that stuff. He just looks ready to be the next quarterback of your football team.
right, ready to start
And
day one.
right, exactly. And because it's Tennessee and because of what they need, that's going to be huge for them. So, yeah, definitely. The thing that's most interesting to me about Tennessee, guys, is whether or not they trade or they try to trade Will Levis.
Yeah, I was
Because
about
to
to say what's going to
me,
happen to Mayonnaise Boy.
Do
yeah,
you think
because to
somebody wants
me,
him?
Backup.
I think you can get, I think for a 6 round pick. I think for a 6 round pick, somebody might be willing to take it, especially if you think about some of these teams that are um that miss out, right? Teams that miss out on the first round quarterbacks, teams that miss out on the guys. Because if you slotted him, Will Levis, into today's picks, sorry, this year's picks, you know, is he better than Will Howard? Is he better than um who's the kid from
I
Tennessee?
think
Not
he's
Tennessee,
I think
Texas,
he's Will Howard
Ewers?
with better PR.
Is he better than Quinn Ewers? Is he better? Like so, I think there's a definite conversation to be had about, whether or not you can get him. He's still he'd be going into his third season as a starter. I mean, as a
Right. That's
quarterback. So he's still
right.
under his rookie deal.
Just some team that may need a backup or whatever like that.
Yeah, late round pick. Or even a team that has a late like whatever team signs Aaron Rodgers, if
Or
it's Pittsburgh,
right, if it's
right?
Pittsburgh, he could be behind them.
Sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a year, learn the quarterback position. He's got the arm strength. He's got the physical talent. He's a guy that definitely had the physical talent coming out of school, but needs the seasoning. Needs to sit behind somebody and not and just watch and learn how to be a quarterback. You know, where does he land? Because
Another team could be the
I don't
Rams too.
right. Yeah, sit behind Stafford for a year. Like, I just don't think that you want to go into, if you're the Titans, you want to go into next season with Cam Ward and Will Levis. Like, you might want to have you a veteran backup that can help bring him along. He's not learning anything from Will Levis. Cam
Well, it
Ward,
kind of makes me think, who are
you
they
know,
going to sign? Joe Flacco? Or is he still in Indianapolis?
I don't know where Flacco is. I mean, there's definitely
There's a
some
lot of quarterbacks out
quarterbacks.
there,
Yeah,
free agency that's just waiting to be assigned, and they'll
yeah,
definitely be the backup bridge, tutoring type of quarterback or whatever.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
They can pick up
okay.
Marcus Mariota, former, Titan.
He just won a ring with the Eagles, right, as a backup.
Yeah, he was a backup with the Philly. Yeah, with Philly.
Shout out to him getting the
And
Super Bowl ring.
they can pass on
Huh.
his knowledge to, Cam Ward.
Is that really somebody who would actually be passing on knowledge, though? Like, no disrespect to him, but
Hey,
we're talking about a quarterback who
just
was a
because
first round draft pick who didn't get it, like, who did not work out. So, like, what knowledge is he passing on?
there's other knowledge besides just because he can't do it doesn't mean he can't play. You mean that he can't teach it? You can't if you can't do it, just if you can't do it, just teach. What's that saying? I forgot how it really goes, but something like
Those
that.
who can do teach.
Right? Yeah, there you go. Usually,
And there's nothing wrong with
usually Mariota
yeah.
is the type of person that will end up being the hot offensive coordinator that becomes the head coach.
He also, and to Ant's point, like he's also, um, in my opinion, like uniquely positioned as a former number 2 overall pick as well,
Right.
right?
So he
So
knows how to
Yeah.
coach.
he can also speak to the expectations, speak to, all of that for Cam Ward. Whereas another quarterback who maybe wasn't drafted that high doesn't have that same perspective and can't provide that for, for Cam. So yeah, I can definitely say if he's a free agent, which I don't know if he is right now, but if he is a free agent, yeah, I
I
can
think he
definitely
is.
see a team like Tennessee, kicking the tires on that. So
All right.
want to go through our top tens? Let's just do our top tens now, or
I
Yeah,
do.
sure.
I do.
okay. Ed, you want to run through the rest of your top 10?
After Cam Ward so far right now, I changed it up a little bit since we've been off. So I have Travis Hunter next, going to the Browns. Then I have Amar Membu going to the Giants because they do need offensive linemen. And then I have Abdul
Yeah.
Carter going to the Patriots. I know a lot of people like to just slot these other guys like Abdul Carter a little bit higher just because he's Abdul Carter. Yes, he's the best player, whatever, but I'm also thinking about what the Giants needed. That's the reason why I have Membu ahead of him. But anyway, I have Mason Graham going to the Jaguars. We was talking about this off the before we started recording, Ace.
Yeah.
Ashon Gentry, I have him go to the Raiders. I got Will Campbell going to the Jets. Even though I do want wanted to get Tyler Warren. I do understand that the Jets have to get that offensive tackle, unfortunately. But
Wait a second. Wait a
I,
second.
I want
Didn't
the
you just tell me like 3 minutes ago that the Jets have their left tackle?
yes, but this would be a right tackle. Can move to right tackle.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I have Jalen Walker going towards the Panthers, even though I'm thinking about changing it to Mike Green. I got Shador Sanders, of course, sliding down to right now, sliding down to New Orleans. I think I saw somebody else doing the same exact thing, so I might change that up. And I
Mel
got
Kiper.
okay, that's what I
Yeah,
must
he
have
was in
saw
Mel
it.
Kiper's draft.
And
Hype.
and I got Kevin Banks Jr. going towards the Bears.
Kelvin Banks. Interesting. I have him going earlier than Chicago, but okay.
And just for other picks out there, I got Matthew Golden going to the Cowboys. I got Omarion Hampton. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Going towards Pittsburgh. I got the Lions taking Nick. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Oh, Eman Worry.
No, no, it starts with an Scouton.
Oh, Scores.
S.
Scouton.
Scrouton, from
Scouton. No,
Scrouton.
Texas
Nick
Texas
Scrouton
A&M.
from the Texas A&M Edge.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
horrible at pronouncing it if anybody doesn't know things out there. But anyway, I got Walter Nolan going towards the Bills as well. And the reason why I want Jackson Dart because I had the Browns trading back in to the 31st pick with Kansas City to get Jackson Dart.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Why Jackson Dart going that high? I'm kind of shocked by that one
But he's a third quarterback on my board.
on your board. Okay. Wait,
I don't care
wait.
about
Why do you
anybody
have
else's
all this
board.
faith in why? Why do you have all this faith in Jackson Dart, considering
I
he's a
don't have
5th-year guy?
I don't have no fate. I just have the I'm
Oh,
just thinking about what the team would pick, and I know for the Browns is kind of stupid, and they actually trade back in to get the extra fifth round pick, and they have to do they're going to might try to do the same copy and paste thing that the Broncos did with what's the name Russell Wilson since Deshaun Watson I was about to say Jackson Deshaun Watson not going to be playing next year. They're going to need a quarterback, and I doubt it's going to be. I forgot who that dude they signed. But anyway, so they can put Jackson Dart in there, have him learn, and maybe make something out of it.
all right. I hear you. Yeah, Malik. After seeing him play in
So,
college, I don't know. I got to be honest. I'm not high on Dart, but I'll
Oh, and
let you cook on that one.
the reason why Shador Sanders dropped is the Giants and the Browns for some reason. I have to think. I was basically thinking about how these coaches and GMs would be thinking about their jobs on the lines, whatever. Especially with the Giants, and they don't want Pops to show up out of nowhere and take the job. Yeah, I got
he's
that
not taking.
fearful.
They're not hiring him. They're not hiring Dion. That's
He
crazy
just
talk.
got what 55 million from Colorado. He ain't going nowhere.
For five
He
years,
ain't going
right?
nowhere. Yeah, he ain't going
Hey,
nowhere anytime soon.
yeah, hey, remember what they did last
11
time?
million.
Remember what they did last time to what's the name? What's that dude's name? Fuck, what's that dude's name? Shit, they gave him that 10-year contract bullshit.
Oh, you're talking about
Oh,
in
Gruden?
Gruden?
college.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
actually, not
that
even
was in the
John Gruden.
NFL.
You're talking about
Yeah,
Talking about
but
Jimbo
still,
Fisher,
but either way,
who they paid
any
$95
team,
million, and then they
any
fired him.
team can just quite still pay more money and lure him right away.
Well, what
At
I'm saying
11 million,
is,
I don't know.
yeah, what I'm saying, yeah, exactly. What I'm saying is Colorado is paying him NFL level money right now.
Yeah,
And he
they're
still
paying Bill
gets,
Belichick money.
and he still, I like to believe that one of the things that I definitely believe that Dion is, despite everybody wanting Dion to coach in the NFL, and it sounds like he has some desire to be in the NFL. I think he's best suited in college, just because of how he likes to have his hands in everything. He's just so, he's a bit of a control freak when it comes to that.
Right.
Um, so I kind of like the idea of him being in college and just being kind of the name in college football. Saban's gone. A lot of the coaches whose names were high up there, they're a lot of the older guys. So it's the young guard now, and Dion's part of that. And Dion might be the old guy in the young guard, but he's definitely in there. So
Since you,
um
since you brought up that controlling part, I just want to ask a side question. I know it has nothing to really do with Dion, but
Mm.
with Belichick, you think that he might actually be successful in the college ranks because he's that type of controlling like Sanders?
Define success, because I think everybody in college can coach like him. Like it's my way or the highway. So that's much easier for him to do because in college you can transfer, but you need to get playing time so people know that you're good, so that you can lead. So if you
Um,
can't get on the field with him, you can't really like get up on out of there.
I mean, turn around that program, make it a real good team, or whatever like that. I don't know. They have to
Well,
win
last
it
year they won
all.
six. I think last year they won 6 games, so they went 6-6, or might have been 5-7. So I mean, if he wins, like Dion won 9 games last year, but they got blown up in the bowl game. So success in the ACC could easily be like, yeah, can they go 8-5 or 8-4 next year? Yeah, I could see
yeah,
that. I could easily see that because Drake May
yeah,
is where Drake May and Tez Walker, and they got talent at that school. Like UNC is not, they're just not overly talented like Miami was back in the day, or more recently, I guess Clemson was. But yeah, like people are getting drafted out of UNC every single year. It's just
yeah,
they don't usually have a bunch of 5 stars. They're not LSU. They're
yeah.
they're closer to like the middle.
Oh,
I think he needs 1 or 2 recruiting years, but I think it's in the ACC where really you have Clemson, you have Florida State. I'm trying to think of the other schools in there that are
Didn't they win 2 games last year?
Florida State, yes. But I'm just saying, like, in terms of the ability to
Yeah,
kind of step in and be a contender in that conference.
right.
It's not the
yeah.
SEC, it's not the Big Ten, it's not, you don't have one of those
It's
um
competitive. It's
it's
competitive.
no,
It's just not.
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. All the
Yeah,
games might be competitive, but in terms of like a juggernaut that's just been sitting there, that's been there for 20, 30 years, and it's like a institution that you can't.
yeah,
Like we've seen North Carolina have some pretty good, like, to your point, Ace, like we've seen them have some
yeah,
pretty good NFL level talent, you know,
yeah.
both on both sides of the football.
Going
It's
back
just
to
not
Julius Peppers back in the
yeah,
day.
it's just never been like the whole group, right? At the same time, everybody, the
Real.
defense, the offense, everybody. It's always been like 1 or 2 guys on each level. Even a couple years ago, the quarterback that was there a couple years ago that got drafted in the third round, he was really good in college. Um,
Yeah.
can't remember his name now. Played for Washington for a couple of seasons, and then last year I think he was in
Oh, I
somewhere on
know
the
who you're
West
talking
Coast.
about. Yeah,
Let me
Sam
see.
Hart, not Sam Hartman.
Sam
Sam
Howell.
Howell.
Sam Howell.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Sam
Sam
Howell.
Hartman went to, yeah, Notre Dame.
Yeah. So they've always had something. But yeah, I think to your point, and I think to your question, and I think it's at least a couple seasons. And
No, I'm gonna say 8 wins next year. I'm calling it.
well, I think that's what I'm saying. I think if you're measuring success as 8 wins in a bowl game,
All right.
cool. But I think if you're Bill Belichick, you're measuring success as contending for the
The
college
ACC
football,
title?
the ACC conference, and getting yourself a berth in the college, and then
Ooh,
in the playoff. I
Get your
think that's
team in
too
the
I'm
much
gonna
hat.
be.
money.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. That feels like we're getting very football-y here, and that feels like a stretch. Like I would not bet on that. I would not. I would not put money on that in year 2 or 3. I'm gonna keep it 100. Like the idea that you're a 5-star recruit and you're going to want to go there to develop a quarterback, like it feels like you kind of fell into Brady, and like it wasn't really going great with the last kid he had, who was a 4-star guy. But that was the
I,
pro, so I guess maybe he just didn't have the talent. But I don't
yeah,
know.
I think that's the pros. That's what I'm saying. College is talent pool in college is a little less, you
Yeah,
know, premier, you
he
know.
should be able to outcoach everybody. He's gonna be able to
E-
scheme up stuff and
exactly.
draw plays that
Exactly.
nobody's seen before.
Exactly.
Well,
Um,
before the rest of y'all
Yeah.
go with before y'all two go over each other, I just want to throw in this news or whatever. Well, not news, but just to look out for it in the future as far as the draft is concerned. I wouldn't be surprised if Tyreek Hill gets traded because the stuff that he's been going through lately and the
we got
latest thing
another
right
domestic
now.
violence
Right.
situation going on.
Right. The
Yeah, he
domestic
was in
violence is
charge though. I just saw that story pop up.
right. But the thing is that he's been going back and forth about, waffling about staying with Miami. And look out for a team like I throw that in the Chargers are there. They need a number one receiver and they got the room to take his contract. Well, anyway, I just wanted to toss that out there.
Tyreek Hill does
Wait, you
not want to
think?
be a Dolphin. We already know that. We
I
already
don't know.
know
I think
that.
he enjoys being in Florida.
That is, I didn't say he don't want to be in Florida. He doesn't want to be a
Right.
Dolphin.
Right. You just don't want to be a Dolphin.
Doesn't want to be a Dolphin anymore. He's done with this. He's done with the whole crap. All right. I'll give my rundown real quick. I got one surprise that I would love to hear. Anthony, I would love to hear your thoughts on. One surprise
Okay.
there in my top 10. But I'll go down the list. Maybe, so Cam Ward one. I also have Travis Hunter two. I think with his versatility, he'll be able to step into either situation. He'll probably, if he goes to Cleveland, he's a wide receiver because they do have some pretty good talent on the defensive side of the ball at corner. I think he's a wide receiver primarily, and then they sprinkle him in at the cornerback position. But I have him going to Cleveland at two. I have Abdul Carter going to the Giants at three. Look, Abdul Carter, I mean, the Giants have had to deal with what, 5 years, 4 years of Micah Parsons. They know what that looks like. And if this guy is anything like Micah Parsons, he was number 11 in Penn State as well. And if anybody that watches, college football and knows Penn State, the player that gets to wear number 11 at that college is important.
Yep.
Um, Based off of, what he's done, like I said, if they can add in, I know they have Thibodeau, I know they have Burns. If they can add in a kid like this, and then they're cooking with some gas here. So I like Carter to the Giants at three. I like Will Campbell to the Patriots at four. Um,
Okay.
all the conversation about his arm length and all of that. Um, I just think it's BS. I watched that guy play in LSU for multiple years, and he's perfectly fine to play the tackle position in the NFL. I think he's going to be a starter 10 years, 12 years, and he's just going to lock things up for them. So Will Campbell, Patriots at four. For Jacksonville, I have them taking Mason Graham as well. I like I
Hmm.
just like I just like the interior pressure that he's capable of bringing. In addition to Walker and Hines Allen on the outsides, and just solidifying that front for them a little bit more. I also have Ashton Genty going to the Raiders at six. They need their running game. The best Pete Carroll in a running game just makes perfect sense. So I like that. My surprise here, which I don't haven't seen anybody people mocking this here yet. My surprise here, New York Jets at seven. I have them taking Tyler Warren,
Okay.
tight end out of Penn State.
Oh, that's the dude I want.
Um, Look, I mean, here's the thing. When's the last time the Jets have had a premier pass catching tight end?
Dustin Keller,
Um,
2000 and something. Close to
and if
2001, I believe.
if you really look at it, Aaron Glenn came from Detroit. Who did they draft in the second round last time? Who did they have? They had Sam Laporta back there, basically, controlling the middle of the field for them in Detroit. He knows what that looks like. He knows what kind of system that is, and I definitely feel like Tyler Warren can be that level of threat in the middle of the field for the New York Jets. So that was a bit of a surprise, and I wanted your thoughts on.
Well,
Carolina at eight. I have them picking Jalen Walker, the edge out of Georgia. It's primarily because I'm
Interesting.
it's primarily because I'm tired of Georgia players falling down to the Philadelphia Eagles and them picking them and getting
Oh,
them.
one will. It just won't be the best one.
So just do me a favor and get the best Georgia player, get the best Georgia edge off the board well before Philadelphia is able to take him. Please, let's just
Didn't
do
even
that
think
one
about
time.
it.
Just do
I
it.
never understand that shit. It always happens. This is like, yeah, sure, I'll take him.
I also have Shador Sanders going 9 to the Saints. I just think it makes perfect sense for the Saints to
Yeah,
do
indoor
that.
team.
You're like
Indoor
reading my
team,
mind here right now. It's crazy.
indoor team, shore up their situation at quarterback. You don't know what's going to happen with Derek Carr. You know he's going to be the starter next year, but you don't know what's
Oh,
going to
we
happen to
know
him.
he's going to be out there.
Well, you don't. I'm saying he's going to play, but you don't know
I'm
what's going to
sorry.
happen to
They're
him.
going to get rid of him. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Right.
they're gonna get rid
They
of him by
can't.
week 3 because he's gonna get hurt.
Right.
Mm.
But they can't just summarily cut him because of the cap hit. So he's going to be playing.
Yeah.
He's going to be playing. He's going to be out there. But if he doesn't play well, and I just love the idea of
That'll be a
putting
perfect team for him.
Shador. I love the idea of putting Shador Sanders with Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore has done really, really well with the quarterbacks that he's worked with Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, last year with Jalen Hurts. You put him with Shador Sanders, and he'll be able to make something happen. And then last but not least, at 10, I have Aces Chicago Bears taking, and I hate to say this, I hate giving them this guy. I have a I have him taking Shamar Stewart,
Oh
the
damn.
edge, the edge
Damn.
from,
Texas
the edge from
A&M.
Texas A&M. This
Interesting.
dude, I love this kid. I love his tape. I love what he's capable of doing. His traits. He just has all of the physical tools. He didn't have the great numbers at Texas A&M that jump out at you, but he's one of those guys that's twitchy that has all of the measurables and is just gonna get off the ball and make and wreak havoc. And you get him on a team like the Bears, and with the switch again, I think that NFL is a copycat league. And the thing that Philadelphia did really, really well and has
Mm-hmm.
done really, really well over the course of the past couple of years is being multiple and switchable along that line. It's never one guy or two guys that's just brings constant pressure. The Myles Garrett structure, the Aiden Hutchinson situation in Detroit, right? We can bring pressure with multiple different angles with multiple different players. You think about Philadelphia, you've got Carter, you've got Nolan Smith, you've got Josh Sweat, you had Bryce Huff. Like literally, you had even an older guy like Brandon Graham. They could bring pressure with 5 or 6 different people. They didn't, and all of them coming off the line. So I think that as a team like the Bears, same deal. You've got the kid that they got back that they got from Washington. What's his name? Montez Sweat.
The
You
kid,
know,
Well,
yeah, he's a
everybody's
kid.
a kid now to us.
Everybody's a kid to us.
We're
We
old.
old.
We old as dirt.
man, is 28 years old.
I don't care. He's
That's a
still a
kid.
Years
kid.
old.
He's still a kid. But you got Montez Sweat, you got a bunch of guys and I think you add another guy like Shamar Stewart, and now you're cooking with grease here.
You don't think they're taking an offensive lineman?
I don't think they have to. I don't think they have to at this point. I like
Okay.
Banks. I like Banks here. I like Zabel. I think Zabel might be available in the second round. Um, Yeah, I think the majority of the offensive linemen, you can get offensive line help. I think Simmons, the kid from Ohio State, he'll be available in the second round as well. So I think you'll be able to do that. Tyler Booker, there's a bunch of guys who I think will last out there till the second round that they could probably invest in. But if you can get a high level pass rushing specialist like a Shamar Stewart that can come in there and potentially to get you, 7, 8 sacks in his rookie season, I think you jump on it. So I'm going edge for Chicago.
I don't think
Because in
Malik
my
really
draft,
I don't think Malik really wants Chicago to
I
get to
don't,
them.
I don't. But the one I don't really look, the one I really don't want them to get is Ashton Genty. Don't get Ashton Genty. I do not
Oh
want him
no,
to
that's
get.
not going to happen.
It's over.
If that
I don't think he'll
happens,
be
it's a real
available if he's
problem.
there.
Actually, he was
In
playing
all
around with a couple of mocks
seriousness,
that I
like
had the Bears move up to get him.
I can't imagine them. I can't imagine them trying to do that because of how the team is structured right now, and like they're expected to win like right away. I can't imagine them like they spent a lot of money on the interior offensive line to make sure that nobody's coming up the middle. I can't imagine them taking a running back, even if it is Ashton Dutty. Like I can't see him. I don't see him getting past like that sounds like a dream, but he's not getting past the Raiders. That's not gonna happen. He's not getting past the Raiders. He's not getting past Carolina. He's not getting past a lot of teams. He's not getting past 8. I don't see that happening. Real talk.
I agree. I agree.
He's too good.
I know one thing: if he
But
Like,
lands where the Jets, if he gets to where the Jets is at, for some reason I can see the Jets trading with the Bears, and the Bears move up.
yeah.
that's my
I don't.
10.
How
Ant,
would
what
the
do you
Jets
think
want to
about
trade back?
Ant, what do you think about Tyler Warren to the Jets at
But
7?
as far as for Tyler Warren, the earlier before when people started doing their mocks and stuff like that, they had him going there, but little by little they started moving over to the offensive linemen. And it could, I'll do a backflip. I don't know how I'll do it. It'd be like Jesus walking on water. I'll do a backflip for some reason because my fat ass can't do that. But anyway, I'll end up doing it, and then I'll be so happy because this dude is fucking awesome. He's a weapon. Not only he can block, he can catch, caught the ball. As a receiver, he can run in the backfield. This guy can do it all. I wanted what's the name from last year that went to Oakland. I'll definitely take Tom Warren this year. I'll be so happy. I
Is is
wouldn't
Tyler
care what.
Warren as good as him? Do you think?
Don't know. There's different type of tight end. We'll see what
Okay.
happens in the NFL when the extra season starts. But if we get Tom Warren, I wouldn't care what we get. We can get a bunch of punters afterwards. I don't even care.
Draft 5 punters. That'd be crazy. All right. Let me go ahead with mine. Obviously, um, I got the top 3 picks. I got Cam Ward going to the Titans. I got um, I got the Heisman Trophy winner.
Travis,
Jesus
Trav.
Christ, like Travis. Yes, Travis Hunter going to the. I got Travis Hunter going to the Cleveland Browns, and I have him playing offense for them. They don't need him on defense. I think they'll find a way to get him involved in defense and maybe even returning punts. But I have them. They need to improve their offense like tremendously.
All I know is the Browns or the Giants better get him because I don't want them to fall to the Patriots. We don't need
Well,
that.
it does also sound like I got to be honest. They should draft Travis Hunter, but knowing the terrible decisions that this team makes, I could totally see them taking a quarterback here. And I know that sounds insane, but like if you hear a quarterback's name called, or if you hear about them trading the number 2 overall pick for somebody, for someone else's quarterback, don't be surprised because they
My
are trying
thought,
to get out from underneath that deal badly.
my thought
The
is,
fact that the owner came
this
out was
is,
like, "We messed up." That says a
yeah,
lot.
I think they'll do it. My thought is this might be the landing spot for Kirk Cousins. This might be the spot
They
where
ain't got that
you
much
get
money.
him. If
That's
I
true.
would
no,
even fit him in with the cap.
What's the name? What's Kevin Stefanski actually's buddies with him? Yeah, you can think about that if he restructures his
Doesn't he
contract or
make
something like
40
that.
million?
well, no, I think Atlanta picks up the way just the way the same way Denver did it last year
Man,
Right.
with Russell,
they be paying that man
Russell
like Bobby
Wilson.
Bonilla until he's like 57
Atlanta picks up
for
the tab.
contracts.
You know,
Okay.
we know that I think it was reported either last week or a couple of weeks ago that Kirk Cousins requested a trade. He requested to be traded or dealt away from Atlanta because
He'll
obviously
be in
he wants to
Seattle.
start. Obviously he wants to start. Obviously he wants to play. He wants to impact a team. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that there's a perfect opportunity there to make a deal. And for if Atlanta eats some of this contract, then they can take it. And then it's a 1 year
I,
stopgap, and then you figure out what you can do, what you need to do with Deshaun Watson next year. Because he's not playing this year, right? You already know he's not going to play this year.
I don't know if he's going to miss the entire season. What's his injury?
Achilles.
Achilles, he's done.
Oh,
His
he
career
tore
is
his
over.
Achilles.
His career is over.
He tore it during the season, like week 8 or something like that. And then he tore it again during
Wait, did he really?
yeah, he
He
tore it
tore it
The
again
twice.
this
last,
year. This year
I
he
didn't know
tore it
he
Yeah.
again.
retore it.
Yeah,
He
when he was
I didn't
trying
know
to
he retore it
during
in rehab.
rehab. Yeah, he tore it
yeah,
in rehab.
Oh,
yeah.
after the
Yeah,
season.
his career is done.
See, he's done
So
for
it's
the
gonna take
year
him another.
specifically.
It's gonna take him another 11 months just to get back.
He's gonna be
I
too
don't even know
busy.
how
He's
old
gonna
he
be too
is.
busy with his new wife. So he's done.
Yeah. Well,
For
he's
some
killing
reason, he
all
got
his
some
money
new
right
wife,
now.
but no, he's good.
Not for some reason. Yeah. I know the reason.
$230 million. I'd
Well,
marry that motherfucker.
yeah. I mean, listen, sit there and
29.
that ring. She
He's
fought for that
29.
ring.
He's
He's
29.
29. Yeah, he'll be able to come back and give them some terrible quarterback play as the
He ain't
Browns
coming back for nothing.
are signing
He
him.
gonna
Nah.
enjoy his money. He's good.
You didn't hear the
What do you mean? He has to be
Ace.
on the roster to get paid, man. You got
He
2 more
does. He'll
years
be
to
on the
He's
go.
he'll
guaranteed. He's good.
he'll
Got to show
he's
up.
got
You
all
got to
that
show
money
up at the
guaranteed.
office.
But did you
Can I
hear
get through my
the
top 10?
GM?
But we're good. Yes.
Did you hear the GM Ace of the Browns? I can't remember this guy's name when he was on record calling the
Yes.
decision to
Oh, no, that
trade
was the
for
owner.
and
That was the
sign.
owner. That was Jimmy
Yeah,
Haslam.
calling it a big swing
Jimmy
and a
Haslam owns the
miss.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah. When
yeah.
the owner comes out and says that, that's usually like when the guy's on his way out.
That means you're
He's not going to be
done.
there for 3 more seasons.
That means you're not playing
No,
for us
you're
anymore.
done.
He's
We
done
will
in that
pay.
town.
He will be in the what's they call it? What's the teachers call it? The rubber room. That's where he's going to be. He's
Oh my God.
they're putting him
Yeah.
in the rubber room. He is not playing. He will not suit up. He will not be. He was. They'll tell him, look, you could just do us a favor. You'll be doing us and everybody in the city of Cleveland a favor if you just stayed home. Just stay home.
You know how
Recuperate.
I knew it was bad when in the offseason when what's his name when Miles Garrett asked for the trade and he was defending the quarterback and all of that during the season. I was like, who's now I feel like now I don't know who I don't even believe these guys. Like I don't even know why these reporters even gotta ask these questions. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is or how bad he's playing. You just gotta go, we believe such and such, insert quarterback name here, will give us the best opportunity to win. As long as he's alive, basically. We need somebody to play that position. Somebody's got to throw the ball. So yeah,
Miles Garrett only
they'll-
believes in a blank check.
they defend the scarecrow. No, he believes in himself. But yeah, I got Travis Hunter going to the Browns. I have the New York Football Giants, and LeVon's gonna love this one. Wish he was here for this. They are gonna take Kelvin Banks Jr.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, they're gonna
He
take a
did it for
tackle.
spite.
No, I'm serious. They're gonna take an offensive tackle because they have Russell Wilson, right? They need to move off of the other tackle. I think they're going to trade one of their tackles. And I think they're going to take Kelvin Banks Jr. and reset the offensive line clock. And I'm not even joking about that. I think they're going to trade one of those guys, either to Jacksonville or to somebody else, and try to get some more picks later on in the draft, legitimately. And they're going to take a new offensive tackle because I don't think Russell Wilson's too good of a quarterback to lose all these games. So they're probably going to win at the very least, in my opinion, 8 games, maybe even 9 or 10 if they get lucky. And an 8-win team is it's not going to be drafted in the top 10, not in the NFL, not usually. So they're going to be right back in the middle, and they're going to have to hope that I don't know, they're sorry the year after or something. I don't know, but Russell Wilson is just too healthy, and the Giants have a pretty good defense with Dexter Lawrence and other players. Not Dexter Lawrence, but who's their defensive tackle? Is it Dexter Lawrence? I forget the guy's name.
Oh, you talking about what on the Giants?
Yeah,
That's Burns and Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau.
Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The New England Patriots are going to be taking Amon Membu, another boring pick, but they need to make the offensive line better. Drake made it a lot with no offensive line last year. That's all they've been talking about around here. I live in the New England area, so they're talking about it in Providence. They're talking about it in Boston. If they wanted to go offense, they would probably draft Harold McMillan. Everybody here wants Travis Hunter, but there's no way in hell he's going to drop that far. People would have to be insane to have that happen. So they're probably going to end up taking Amon Membu. Will Campbell is also a possible option, but I think because of the head coach and he drafts like size and he's very particular about everything, and they kind of missed with Jake Long when he was there. So he knows offensive linemen as a former linebacker and a guy who used to line up a tight end, very athletic, good at the time. That's what they're going to go for. Jacksonville Jaguars. This is my surprise pick. This is where I have Ashton Jeanty going. As crazy as that sounds, I have Ashton Jeanty going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're not going to draft defense like
Wow.
they should. They're not going to draft a corner because there's no corner that's amazing out of here. They're going to draft Ashton Jeanty. Yeah. I know, and because this team does things that just don't make sense, expect them to do more of them. The Raiders have a pretty good defense. I have the Raiders taking Tedoroa McMillan. They need a number one receiver. This man is 6'4", 219 pounds, and he's 21 years old. I think he's a junior coming in, which means he's only spent 3 years in college. I know that because he's past 2020, so he's not one of those redshirt juniors. So the kid's 20 or 21. Tedoroa McMillan is going to the Raiders. Then I have the Jets getting the defensive tackle. Well, it doesn't make sense for them to get him, but I think the Jets are going to get Abdul Carter. That's
I'm about to
crazy.
say when he was going to get drafted. Like he's kept on
I have
falling.
Abdul Carter falling to the Jets because I don't think the Patriots are going to take him. I know that sounds nuts, but I just don't see that happening because they need a tackle so bad. And if he gets past the Giants, right, then he's going to keep going. He's gonna fall a little bit further. And I think they're going to take an offensive line. I know it sounds nuts. Then after the Jets, I have Mason Graham. I have Mason Graham going to the Carolina Panthers because their defensive line is atrocious, and they're going to work from the middle out. Then I have Jalen Walker. The Saints aren't going to take a quarterback. I got Jalen Walker on the edge going there, and they're going to start moving. They're going to start moving Mr. Saint now. They're going to start moving my guy who's doing all those commercials for the Saints. They're going to start moving him up out of there towards retirement. And I think the Chicago Bears are going to end up taking the different edge, but he has a chance that not James Pierce, the guy that you mentioned, Malik. I just kind of learned about this kid, the one from Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
He has a legitimate shot of getting drafted by them. Jamar Stewart. He's
Yep.
very special defensive end, 6'5", 270. Very, very quick. But I think they're going to go with someone who's faster, and that's why I think they're going to end up not with Graham, but Mike Green from Marshall. A little bit shorter, 6'3", listed at 251. Guy put up crazy sack numbers last year. Uh, he has like a 40-inch vert, crazy athlete. Played a couple of different sports in high school. Had an opportunity to play basketball. Stuck with football. Got even bigger. Went to Marshall. Helped him go to like an 11-win season. And he's a redshirt sophomore, so he's only three. He's younger. I think one of the youngest guys coming out in the draft, Mike Green. I know it sounds nuts, but that is just my opinion. And then after that, I have San Francisco taking a wide receiver, and the wide receiver they're going to take is Luther Burden. If Luther Burden does not end up on the San Francisco 49ers, I will be shocked. I will be shocked. But I think the Giants are going to draft a tackle. I know you guys think I'm nuts. They should take and they should take they should take Carter, but I did not see them taking Carter.
For some
Mike
reason,
Green is a
I was going to say for some reason I think Jalen Walker, your mock is going to fall right to the Eagles, like Malik hates.
no Jalen Walker. Jalen Walker is going to end up on the Cowboys. He's going to go. He's going to either go to the Cowboys or the Dolphins. Ain't no way he's making it to 32. He's going to go. If he falls, he's going to fall somewhere in the middle because everybody needs a defensive pass rusher. The Dolphins need help with that. The Colts need help with that. The Cowboys need help with that. Because outside of Micah Parsons, hey, guess what? Wasn't much pressure when he went there. Wasn't a lot of tackle being made on the defensive line when he went there. And you're going to need somebody else. It can't just be one dude. Like Malik was saying, you're going to need multiple. You're going to need send waves of guys, kind of like how the Eagles were able to. Even before they started drafting all these guys, when they won in 2018, they had Chris Long, they had Hassan Reddick, they had Brandon Graham, they had a bunch of dudes that they could send. They had 3 or 4 different pass rushers. When the Patriots were good at it, they had Dietrich Wise. They had a couple of different guys that they could send. Back in 2000, was it the last ring they won was 20? Was it after the Eagles loss? Was it 2019? No, it was. I think before that, 2017. They're always able to figure out how to get more pressure, and it's not just scheme. Sometimes it's players as well. So they're gonna have to figure that out. But yeah, I gave you a top 11. I know this kind of nuts for the Giants to do, but that is just my opinion. Like they're not going to take who we think they should take. They're just not going to. I see them taking
Yeah.
an offensive tackle.
I would just be surprised if they went off. If I would be
They
surprised if
spent
Abdul Carter if
they took
Abdul Carter
Avon they
sitting
took
there.
Avon Thibodeau
I
2
get
years
it.
ago, and they're going
Well,
to draft
well, I
another
did had I
defensive
had the
end.
Giants taking a tackle too, so
Yes.
How many defensive ends you need? Or
As
they're going to
many
take
at
as you
least
Tyler
can
two.
Warren.
get. As
Or they're going to
many
take
as you
Tyler
can.
Warren.
As a Detroit Lions fan, the answer to that
Sorry, he
question
might
is
not
as
end up on the
many as
Jets. He
you
might
can
be a
get.
Giant.
Yeah, even the
That's
That's
the
what
Jets
I'm
had a whole
answer.
lot
saying.
of defensive tackle. I mean,
The
defensive
answer to
ends.
that question is how many
You can't
defensive
have
linemen do
5
you
defensive
need?
ends, dog.
I need
Yeah, keep
all of
rotating
them.
them. Keep rotating them. That's
Just
what
keep
it is.
rotating them. Yeah, okay.
You need all of them. I'm telling
It's
you,
like
man. You
defensive.
watch that.
It's like
Watch
defensive wings in the NBA. You can't have
Ace.
everybody out there. You can't have 5
Watch that
small forwards.
Philadelphia Super Bowl. Watch that Philadelphia team over the course of the season, and you'll see
That
what
was a
they
lot of
did.
outside linebackers that,
But what they did is they kept rotating guys in. They could rotate a fresh body and fresh legs in. It keeps guys healthy. It keeps guys from having to go all out for 65 snaps in the game, and they get to come out there and play and just pin their ears back and go after it.
That's the
And when
same
you
thing
see
with
a
solid
team,
defense. It's the same thing. You're going to see San Francisco playing the same type of thing. They're going to be tossing
that's
around a
why
lot of defensive ends.
that that's why I think San Francisco didn't they sign the other Bosa brother already?
no, he went to Buffalo.
He went to Buffalo. Oh damn. Yeah. So
Joey.
Buffalo re-up. That makes sense. He'll fit in right in there. Yep. He'll fit right in
Yeah.
Western New York.
You mean by that?
You know exactly what I mean by that. I went to school up there. Exactly what I mean. He'll fit. They missed Matt Milano. They're gonna get him back. He'll be right where he needs to be. He's from Ohio anyway. He played at Ohio State. He'll fit right in. Him and Ed Oliver will be right there on that line, terrorizing people.
Yep.
Except for the
So
2 weeks
yeah,
where
I
they
know
play the
that's
Jets.
I know it's kind of a crazy idea that the Giants are gonna mess this up, but think about it. This is the same team that drafted a running back, second overall, when everybody was like, why would you do that?
And then a couple of
I
years
still end
later,
up
they let
taking
him walk to Philadelphia.
well, not even just that, but like I'm not saying Kelvin Banks Jr. isn't gonna be good. Would like to see him on Chicago. But Chicago's not going to get him because somebody's going to take him first. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. He's going to be a star, but he's going to be blocking for people who are like, do we really want this guy as our quarterback? And Russ is going to outperform his contract, and they're going to think, do we bring him back as a bridge? Do we give him a 2-year deal and let him play till 38?
That's the
He's
funny thing
36
about
right
Mox
now.
is that you always got to think about how stupid some of these teams are. Oh, it's silly
Hey
moves
man,
that they might make.
they gave the money that they could have given to. They gave the money that they could have given to. Good Lord, I
Saquon
just said his
Barkley.
name. To Saquon to Shepard. What? To Sterling Shepard. What? Word? This is what we doing? We giving it to second round wide receivers, to above average wide receivers. You're telling
according
me
to the
you'd rather
according to the
pay an
GM
above
chart,
average wide receiver than the best running back in the league at the time
because according to the GM
with a
chart that
sketchy
he has
injury
somewhere
history?
from
Okay.
he got from McDonald's or something like that, that says the receiver is worth much more money.
Listen, some guys are worth more. He's the reason why y'all won that playoff game. Some guys are worth more. You got to keep it 100. Everybody's like, yeah, he played with the best offensive line, and
He
he
was the
ran
reason
for
why they was in the
2,000
playoffs.
yards. Exactly. He was able to run for 2,000 yards because he had the best offensive line and because he's the best running back in the league. And with a sorry offensive line with the Giants, he put up 1,600 yards, 16 or 1,500. So think about that. So if you get your offensive line good, which everybody seems to think is the answer, Kelvin Banks Jr. is the best one available. They're going to take him. And then Abdul Carter is going to go further, and people are going to lose their minds. I could be completely wrong, but watch me. And I like doing stuff like this because I just like the idea of just messing with people's heads. Also, it's stupid enough just to make sense. It's like when Anthony Bennett went first overall in the NBA draft, if you remember that 9 years ago. And I think he's playing over in like Turkey or something right now.
He
Turkey
might
is
be
what they
retired.
call change their name to. Now he's playing in Europe. He collected all that money and now he's over in Europe. I never heard of him in college. I gotta keep it 100. I don't even know what school he went to. But that's the biggest bust I think in NBA history.
I think he went to you. No, where did he go again?
You don't even know. Utah State, UNLV,
No,
somewhere on the West Coast.
I think it was UNLV.
Yeah, well, it's not important. What is important is that he's no longer in the league.
Yep, UNLV.
Just like somebody in the group chat was telling me, no, somebody in our Facebook group was telling me Jake Locker had a good game. I was like, when? Remind me of this good game that Jake Locker had in the
At
NFL.
Washington? At Washington, he
Yeah.
had some decent games.
No, it's in Tennessee.
Oh no, worry about that. Okay.
Exactly.
NCAA,
I was like,
the
what?
NCAA football, you know.
Yeah, not
Yes,
in
I remember.
college. Everybody was nice in college. I'm talking about in the pros. He's the
Yes, I
reason why
remember.
they
He had a
drafted
good game in Madden.
Jake Locker is Jake Locker is the reason why they ended up with the dude from the Dolphins. So they were just like, can he just get it together? Can he just get it together? He's how they got Derrick Henry. They were so bad with him, they were like, I guess let's take this running back and see what we can do.
Yeah, which is way
So
better than
sometimes
Jake Locker.
he's like that. Exactly. And they could have had, I think it was they took Jake Locker, and then the next pick after him was future Hall of Famer JJ Watt, which is just like, God damn, that's tough. Someone's gonna talk themselves into taking Shador. And I could see it being the Saints, and it does make sense because they're a dome team, and I think him being in the South right there would be perfect. And that city would they would love that. They would love that.
I could also see
But
Shador falling all the way down to the Pittsburgh or even further down than that, and people trying to trade up for him.
not that far, but I see him, to put it exactly, like I like Shador, but it's just the fact that they don't, everybody likes him, nobody's in love with him as their quarterback.
And
So
that's the thing is that
legitimately,
as soon as he passed the Saints, there's no real team that needs a quarterback.
oh, there is.
Who's that?
That's where the trade up comes in.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Comes into
saying. That's the
play.
only thing that's going to
Exactly.
come is to trade up. But I'm talking about they don't trade.
Somebody's gonna make a move. Somebody's gonna make a move.
Don't
I
look, I
gotta
say
be
this.
honest.
I say this, if you're a fan of a team on the West Coast, do not let Shador Sanders fall into McVay's hands over there in the Rams and sit behind
Oh,
Stafford for a
that'll be
year
awesome.
and then
Yeah,
be the next quarterback, that Sean McVay is
It's so
developing.
bad.
Please don't let that happen.
my
Don't let
God.
that happen. Just don't. Just don't, please.
That'll be a
Yo,
nightmare.
yo,
You know what that'll
I
almost be that'll be almost similar to when the Bills decided to trade with Kansas City and Kansas City decided to draft Patrick Mahomes.
yeah. The most interesting thing to me this year is who the Cardinals gonna take. Who the Cardinals and the Bengals are gonna take, because those teams have clearly good quarterbacks, but the rest of the team is so shaky. We have no idea.
I mean, the Bengals,
Legitimately have no
they
idea.
can probably take just about anybody on the defensive side of the football, and nobody would bat an eye.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Bengals could
you're not
Bengals
gonna get paid if you go there.
they could
Well,
triple the ball
but
and get
it doesn't
anybody.
matter. They'll be a first round pick, so they'll be under team control for the first 4 years, 4 to 5 years of their deal. So at the very
Yeah,
least, what I'm saying is like just the best available defensive player at 17 when they pick, whether it's Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan, or Mike Green, who you mentioned from Marshall, or um,
White
one of these
Green.
guys that we mentioned, Scorton or Stewart, or one of these guys that we mentioned that could be in the top 10 that falls because somebody falls in love with a wide receiver, or somebody loves, you know, the
John
tight end
Campbell.
situation. There's a run on run on tight ends in the
Oh
top
yeah,
of the
Colston
first, or
Loveland. That's
yeah,
another
something
good
like
tight end.
that. You
yeah.
know,
Oh, and by the way, Luka dropped 45 on Dallas and Dallas.
yeah, yeah. So that,
Yeah,
well, I
he's
saw
kind of
he
pissed
had
off right now.
31 at the half, but yeah.
He was kind of pissed off from
Nice.
yesterday.
Man, listen. The only way we're gonna move back to basketball, but the only way for Dallas to be correct about that trade is if he has some kind of catastrophic injury, and I genuinely just can't root for that. I can't root for homeboy to get hurt because that is just terrible. 'Cause
No,
that's basically what they're saying. He's gonna break down because he drinks too much and he's kind of lazy. It's like, get the fuck out of here. He's always been kind of pudgy, and he's been
I
dropping
mean,
You know, if Mark Cuban
60
owned
point
that team,
games
they
on
wouldn't have made
people
that
for the
trade.
past 2 3 years. Yeah, well then don't sell the team.
well, Cuban said
You know
that.
what I
Cuban
mean?
actually said that. Yeah. I mean, like, no,
Don't sell the team.
No, I'm not even gonna put injuries on it. Dallas's best bet for this trade to go through is for Luka's visa to expire. Like that's what needs to happen. He needs to no longer be able to work in the United States of
Gets
America,
deported.
and then he gets deported
Good
back to
God.
his native. Like
Ice knocking on his door.
that's where it has to happen.
Yeah,
It's
that's
gonna
not
have to
that
be a
bad for
phone
him.
call needs to be made for him to have to leave the country and go play for his
That's what it's
play
gonna
play in a
take.
new league. It's not gonna
Trump
happen.
gonna have to
Well, it's a
get
good
on
thing
him.
he's not in
That's
Texas
yeah,
no
it's
more,
not.
because how Texas do with the ice,
Good Lord. All right, y'all. We're gonna keep it moving to the NBA playoffs. As I was talking about a little bit earlier, I am shocked that somehow, some way, the Chicago Bulls have mediocred their way into the play-in again. One game out of the actual playoff spot. I think they are one game back of Atlanta because they have played 80 games exactly. Atlanta has played 79. So they have 3 games left. The Bulls have 2 games left, and they are one game back. I don't know who has the tiebreaker, but that would be crazy if Orlando's playing Chicago to get into the play. The New York Knicks can still fall to the 4 seed, which I'm not going to lie. I think they could beat Milwaukee much easier than they could beat Detroit. But I think they'll beat either team. But I really don't want them to have to play Giannis in the first round. I want to see Indiana and Milwaukee beat the hell out of each other because I think the Knicks have a much better shot at beating Cleveland in the playoff series than they do beating Boston. Because the Knicks have too bad a time trying to guard teams who can shoot threes well. Any team that can shoot the three, for whatever reason, always kills the
I
Knicks.
thought that was every team in the NBA.
Every team, my ass. Listen,
Yeah, every team in the
they've
NBA
won
shoots the
50
three. They don't
games.
all shoot it well.
Every team that shoots three well, where they seem to shoot the three better against the Knicks than anybody else in the damn league.
Yeah, the Knicks are one of the worst teams in the NBA 3 point percentage, defensive three
Which
point
is yeah,
percentage.
which is just horrific to watch as a fan. Watching that game last night, looking up here, is not fun.
Well, if you
Going to the
don't do
office,
substitutions, that kind of happens.
yeah,
They
Gilbert is
they
being worn down.
I don't think it's wearing down. They play a ton of they're trying to with the Knicks particularly, and we can go off the Knicks after this. What I see and what has been commented on by a number of players, number of people that watch the game, is that they're trying to compensate for the limited capabilities of Karl Anthony Towns as a perimeter defender.
Defender,
As a perimeter defender, he can't defend on the perimeter.
of course
Um,
not. He's 7 feet tall. Why the hell would
but
he be able to?
he's not a switchable defender, so you run him in pick and roll. You hunt him in pick and rolls. He goes underneath. He goes underneath, or he takes the drop coverage so that he can defend the drop or the defend against the driver. And you've got a shooting big out there that can make 3 pointers, and that it just buries the team, right? You can't switch because you try to switch. If you switch, then you're putting Jalen Brunson or some guard on a big that can shoot. And if you don't switch, or if you don't switch, Karl Anthony Towns is out of position because he can't defend up there. He's not comfortable out there. So
Listen, Porzingis had to have the game of his life yesterday to beat us, which was extra spiteful for him. Old kneecaps. That's all right. He won't even be on the Celtics next year after the new owners take over.
Well,
They're gonna
yeah,
have to trade
Ace,
somebody. Don't
he
let
did
them
call
not
in
win.
earlier. Just to let you know, he did call in
Call
earlier to
their
apologize
ass.
that he couldn't be on our show tonight.
I'm so tired of seeing that guy play. I do not like seeing him in a Celtics jersey. It just
good old
bothers me.
kneecaps.
It don't feel right. I'm low key. I was cheering for Denver until they decided to just up and fire their head coach. 3 games to go into the playoffs for no reason. It just seems kind of crazy that they did that to switch over to the Western Conference. This team has had injuries from 2 of their main contributors, Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. is their best 3 point shooter. They lost the lead to Sacramento, got it back in the game that I'm watching right now. They are fifth in the West. If they win this game tonight, they go to fourth in the West. Because basically from third all the way down to like seventh are within 2 games of each other in the Western Conference. And they just up and fire the guy who got them to the championship 2 years ago, which, at my count, they've now fired outside of Steve Kerr and the guy who won the championship last year, that weirdo in Boston who's their head coach,
Missoula.
Joe Mazzulla, who can't look into the camera and answer a question normally for whatever reason. The royal family. Oh, Jesus, he was here. Yeah, he actually answered the question that way when they were asking him about Kate and whatever William, and I was like,
Whoa, wow.
I love how he just goes out his way to just be a weirdo. But it is whatever. They fired every single other head coach who's won a championship since 2019. Every single one, which is
Yeah,
just
I think with the
insane,
exception of two guys. Yeah.
with the exception of two guys. So out of the last six coaches, seven coaches to win the championship, they have fired five, which is just
Yeah.
bananas. Sorry to go off on a tangent, but I don't know if you knew that. It would. It's kind of like how they fired Bill Belichick, except they gave him 4 years after he won a title.
Yeah,
It would
they
be
let
like
him,
if
they let him
it'd be like if Nick
respectfully.
Sirianni got fired in 3 years.
Actually, it was almost
Hmm?
like how they fired Salah.
Yeah, except
Like,
Salah didn't take the Jets to the Super Bowl. If he did, he'd still be there. He he could have lost the Super Bowl and he'd still be the Jets head coach. They'd have been like, I mean, he got us close.
actually, I should say how they did Rex Ryan.
Actually,
Rex Ryan's
actually,
the
yeah.
closest if he called it for the Jets. But anyway, Bill Belichick's a better example. Anyway,
But
sorry to interrupt.
well, yeah, you no. That's fine. That's perfect because you win a Super Bowl. I don't know what the difference is if you win a Super Bowl or if you win a World Series. They don't just fire you in the next season or the next two seasons. They give you more time to get it together because they realize, well, clearly this person is a good coach. He got us there and we won it. Michael Malone, this was his ninth season or tenth
In
season.
ninth something.
Had
I
he
think it's ninth
finished, this
season.
would have been his ninth season. And
Yeah.
they fired, and he had 3 more years left on his contract. So they still got to
Yeah.
pay him 8 million. They still got to pay him $24 million anyway, which is also insane. And this is the same guy who owns the LA Rams.
Yeah, he
So
owns a
I'm
bunch
just
of
thinking,
teams. He owns a bunch of teams. He owns
yeah,
the Arsenal. I
he
just
owns
found
more
out he
teams
owns,
than that too.
yeah, he owns the Arsenal.
Oh, he does.
Uh-huh. He owns the Colorado
Oh,
Avalanche. He
they hate
literally
that
owns
guy
all three of those teams
in
in
Denver.
in Denver.
He owns the baseball team too.
Except the Broncos. But he owns, yeah.
Dang,
No, he owns the Rams, yeah, the Rams,
hockey
the
team.
Nuggets, the hockey team, the
Was he on the
Arsenal,
soccer team?
and
The Raptors or whatever
Arsenal.
the hell they called.
No, he owns
Oh,
the Arsenal
Oh, in Premiership. That's all
in
he does is own
Premier.
sports teams.
Yeah,
Yeah, he don't know what
hockey.
he's doing.
Um,
He
so
got
my
lucky.
there's an interesting, and I can't take credit for this thought, but it was an interesting thought
Mm.
that someone mentioned around the Michael Malone thing, and I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this. So specifically around the timing of it. So, obviously there's been a lot of conversations about what what situations were permeating through the organization and how decisions, how, he rubbed the wrong way, rubbed some people the wrong way, some players, some executives, and some folks just, with his coaching style, and it just kind of, wore thin there.
Kind of blunt.
And so the why has been explained in a few different ways without, anybody going into any real detail, because it doesn't seem like anybody really knows, because nobody's actually saying anything yet, but they're all speculating. So the why, I think we've got some, but the when and the timing of it was what was interesting. And one of the, it was someone that mentioned this was, if you felt like you were going to fire him, if you knew you were going to fire him, at and that was your plans were to fire this man, fire him, fire the GM, and get the whole house cleaned. It's better to fire him now than to fire him after a playoff run and they just so happen to luck up and get themselves into the Western Conference Finals. See, if you fire him before that happens, it's a little easier to stomach than if you fire him after he's taken a team to the Western Conference Finals and lost. And that's not to say, and it really, with a player like Nikola Jokic, like that could happen. He could just go on a tear in these first two rounds, and it wind up being, Nuggets Lakers, for instance, in the conference finals. Like that could happen. And then if they were to lose it to the Lakers, and then you fire Michael Malone, it looks even worse. So firing him now, putting Adelman into place, you're just, yeah, yes, to some degree, you might be punting on the season and making it relatively clear that you
Punching on the
think,
playoffs.
yeah, I mean, you don't think that you're gonna get out of the West, but even if you
You know what
were to
this
get
would be
out of the
like?
West, but even if you were to get,
I'll give you.
but if you
I'll let you finish.
fire
Sorry.
him, but it's the whole thing is if you fire him now, yes, it's a surprise, but it's not completely. If you fire him now at the midst of like a relatively poor stretch of games for your team, yes, it looks bad. Yes, it's a shock, and everybody's going to be surprised by it. But it's not as big a deal as if you fire him after the playoffs and you've had some like miraculous run. So if you're going to get rid of him, get rid of him as soon as possible. That's basically what the conversation was. But go ahead.
I got you. Okay, you know how I'll bring it back to football real quick. You know how Ant doesn't like Todd Bowles, but Todd Bowles keeps winning playoff games with Tampa Bay.
Right.
That'd be like firing Todd Bowles with 2 games left in the season after you've locked up
Exactly.
the division because you don't think Todd Bowles can
Well,
win you a championship, but you know he's going to get you, but he might luck up and get you to the NFC Championship game, and now we got to keep him. And
well,
that's what
not
you're
so much
basically
after
telling
you've
me.
locked up the division.
But after you've won a championship, no, like they've locked up a playoff spot. We know they're
Right.
not in the play-in. If they can win 2 of these last 3 games, or if they can win these last 3 games, they could be the third seed. They could be the second seed actually, if the Lakers had lost tonight. But they could be the 3 seed if they win these last 3 games, and one of those teams loses just one. They're the 3 seed again instead of the 5. They're all 1 game within each other. But what you're telling me is this coach, and the only time they were the 1 seed was when they won the championship 2 years ago. But this team has never really been the best team in the league by record like that ever. But now you're
Hmm.
expecting. But I guess they just felt the players weren't responding to him again anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But
saying is
you didn't give him the
that's what I
players he
mean.
wanted.
I don't think it's a performance based firing. I think this
Is
is
it you just don't believe in him no more?
we just not rocking with him any longer. Like we're just done.
All right.
That's what I mean is this is what I'm saying is it's
It's
if you're
not
not
that you're not
firing,
good. We just don't want you here.
we just don't like you anymore. We just don't want you here anymore. Like that's it.
It's a good way
And
to
I'm just not that
set
into
fire under
you.
the team too, so they can actually push a little,
yeah,
do a little bit better.
like
Well, I blame the GM more than I blame anybody because Nikola Jokic.
it's
Someone brought this up. He's never played with another All Star the same season that he was an All Star.
right, because
Jamal
Jamal
Murray
Murray's
has
never made
never
an
been
all-star
good when
team,
he
even
was
though he's
good.
an all-star caliber player. But it's
Yes, well, Jamal Murray's always hurt, and you know how I know he's really not that good. I saw the Olympics last year, and he got rocked by Evan
but it
Fournier. Evan
right.
Fournier gave him work in Paris in the Olympics. So
Well,
if Jamal Murray was that dude, he would have showed up at some point, and he never did.
Evan Fournier gets to play really good on a Paris team because he knows he doesn't have to play defense on the other side because he's got Wemby
Okay,
and Gobert back there. But
and
but no,
and what
this
the
is
hell? And what the hell did Jamal Murray got to worry about on
what
defense? You got HJ next to him. Who's
he can't
doubling
play
him?
def. No, but he knows that they had no size. Their biggest guy was like 6'8".
Then make some shots.
Their biggest guy was 6'8". But
No, they got Dwight Powell.
but
He's
I was like
trash, but they got Dwight
using your
Powell.
Todd Bowles example, using your not- like you I even correlate this even further out. Even I take this away from sports. If you know you're gonna break up with a girl, you're dating your woman, you know you're gonna break up with her. You absolutely know this is not working. Okay, guys out there, listen to me. You know you're getting ready to break up with her. You know you're getting ready to end this relationship. It's done. It's a wrap. Okay. You don't do it before you do it right in there. You don't do it after her birthday or after your birthday when she buys you a really great gift because then it makes it harder to do. You know you're gonna break up with her
Uh,
anyway. So you do
yeah,
it when you're going, you just rip off the band-aid, get it over with, get it done right away. Because if you wait too long and she does something that really triggers you to like really rethink this and makes you look like a jerk, you're gonna look like a jerk regardless. So you cut,
rip off the band-aid.
so you just do it, get it over with, get it done, and it looks a lot better if you do it on a random Thursday than if you do it on her birthday.
And
Don't do
what
it.
do you got to say? Don't break up with her before Valentine's Day. That's what the league's basically saying. All right.
Yeah, I agree with Malik. I'm
So
just
you
gonna go
think
with that.
firing this coach is the right decision? You think that analogy fits?
Look, if you wanted to fire him, this is the best time to actually do it. Malik is right. You don't want to take this into the, as far as going back to basketball part. You don't want to take this into the playoffs, and he gets you deep into the playoffs, and then you decide to fire him. Like, say if you go all the way goes to the conference championships, you don't want to fire him then. After he loses out on that, or if he loses out on the NBA title, whatever like that. You want to get rid of him. You want to move on to somebody else. You got somebody else in the wing waiting to go. Best thing to do is just get rid of him right now. But as far as for the
All right.
girlfriend situation, I'm waiting till after my birthday.
Ah, all right. Well, you heard it. Yeah, Memphis also did a similar thing that they fired their head coach with 2 weeks to go in the season. And then John Morant's out here throwing fake hand grenades into the crowd because he hit a game winner. I feel
He's a
that man is
genius.
just bored. He's just bored. He's just like, you know what? Let me do something crazy. Let me make everybody go nuts. Let me act a little wild.
You know what? He
And
should
not really
next time he
doing
should
nothing, but
just do the
still doing
Rambo
something.
Rambo gun pose. Like he got the big Rambo gun. He should do that next.
How about a peace sign? How about that? Just switch it up. Just do something normal.
That's
How about you
boring.
just keep the money? Keep the money in your pocket, man.
He could do like he could act like he's a Ninja Turtles. Do with the nunchucks and stuff move like he's Bruce Lee or something.
The nunchucks. That would be a good selling. I would appreciate that. That'd be nice. Recently, who's spoken about getting out of a team that's possibly in the, well, they're definitely in the play-in. They may actually be able to play their way into the playoffs. Domantas Sabonis, once out of Sacramento. I don't know where he'll end up, but he wants out of Sacramento. I think he's their highest paid player at like 37 million a year. But I don't know. I don't know where he might end up, but I could see the owner in Matt Ishbia trying to make a trade, bring him down to Phoenix, send Bradley Beal or whoever else or Kevin Durant there trying to figure this out. Have him play alongside Booker. That might actually work. I would like to see that happen because I'd like Phoenix to not be sorry continuously and to see the Kings actually, like, I don't know, put together a team that can actually win. Because they've already traded homeboy over to San Antonio. But San Antonio still needs some more help. I'm hoping they win the Cooper Flag lottery. And did either of you get a chance to see the Final Four? So we'll finish on the NCAA before we get up
Yeah,
out of here.
I watched Duke and
What did y'all
Houston. I
think of
watched
the?
Houston and Duke.
What did you think of the game? What did you think of that call?
The
The
in
over the
in the
back
Duke and
foul
Houston
on
game.
Flag. Yeah,
It
I mean, I
it
liked it
it
because I hate on Duke, but it was a bit cheap, but it was
no, it
it
wasn't
was
a foul.
textbook. But you don't think
Look,
so? You don't think he was reaching over his back?
here's the thing. Here's the thing. And Anthony, you can attest to this because you've been harping about it for a long time. I don't know what a foul is anymore in college or NBA. I don't know. I just don't know what it is. I don't know what a foul. I have I have resolved this in my brain that I don't know the rules that I was taught in basketball. They no
Don't
longer
exist.
exist. They don't exist. I don't know what a travel is anymore. I don't know what a
Yeah.
foul is. I don't know because Cooper Flag jumped over his back. It was
Yes,
over his. He did that. It
it's a
absolutely
foul.
happened. But how many times have we seen players jump over players' backs and it not get called? See, this is the thing: is the consistency
Okay.
of calls in professional sports across the board has been so horrible for so long that it honestly, no matter what call gets made, you can argue it one way or the other.
Yeah.
Even blatant ones, like the Luka one last night when he got kicked out of the game,
Oh, the
right? And
tech.
everybody,
Yeah, he
you
was
know,
looking in the ref's direction, but he was tripping at the fan.
it's one of those things. It's like I can't even tell. Like there are some constants that if you hit the ball over the fence, it's a home run, and even that got Jeffrey Mayered, to some degree. But like there are some things that just can't be
I
that
forgot
they're
about
just
that.
clear and obvious. But like I don't know what holding is in the NFL. I don't know what it is. It looks like it happens every time they snap the ball. Doesn't get called. And how many times so I look
Mm.
at that and I say, If that's a foul, then it should be a foul every time. And if it's a foul every time, then an NBA game or a college game is going to last for 4 hours. If you call every single one of them, and nobody's going to be playing, so because everybody's going to foul out. So was it a foul by the textbook of the law? Yes, but in that moment, I don't think you should have called it. That's it. But Duke
Spiritually, it
didn't lose
wasn't
on
a foul.
Duke didn't lose on that single call though.
No, it didn't help, but no.
No, exactly.
He missed the game winner. But the fact that he was willing to take it is kind of good. He doesn't have a great first step. He's a little slow, but the man is 6'10", so I get it. But if they think he's going to be a savior for a team, oh no. There's two teams I don't want to see him go to, but I'm gonna get back to that call. I was happy to see Duke lose because they're a very hateable team. Con Knipple, I do not want to see them celebrate. John Shire, I'm not here for it. I was rooting for my man Sampson, Kelvin Sampson, the oldest coach
Yeah,
left.
Kelvin Sampson. Yep.
Yeah, didn't know he wanted to claim him, but I didn't realize he's Native American. I had no idea, so I was rooting for him. I was like, let them get one. Come on now, let Houston get a championship. I was really hoping they would get one, and then the refs kind of jobbed them in the championship game with all of those calls and not letting them play physical in the second half. Consistency of the calls, Malik, to your point, was kind of all over the place because they were letting them box out and be physical, and at some points they were just like, "No, we're not gonna let you do that." And they called like 4 fouls in a row on Houston, and their offense just disappeared. They had an 11-point lead with like 15 minutes to go, and then with 9 minutes to go, they had no lead, and it was just kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But and Florida only has one guy that's going to end up in the pros, and that's Walter Clayton Jr. I think there's at least
And I don't
four
even think
guys
he's a
on
first.
Houston that are ending up. He'll end up
I
be a
don't
first
even
round
think
pick. He
Clayton's
can
a.
shoot.
I don't think Clayton's a first round pick.
You don't think so?
In a stronger draft, I don't think he's a first round pick.
It's a pretty. The draft is stronger this year than it was last year. Like he's
Yeah,
going to be a
it's
top
still not
five
a
pick.
good thing. That
I
doesn't
mean,
mean it's a
listen. I
good
think
draft.
he's
It
he's
just
going to be
means it's
better than
better than last
Davion
year's.
Mitchell. All right.
That's,
I
yeah.
see him being better than Davion Mitchell, but that's just me. I
Uh,
can't really think of who else is going to get drafted. I don't know of any overseas prospects, but like Walter Clayton Jr., um, the player, I keep forgetting that kid's name, but I think I mentioned in the group chat that point guard or the small shooting guard from Houston. He can hoop. I don't know how high he's gonna go. I think he'll be a lottery pick. He's listed at 6'2", 6'3", I think. But he can get his own shot, but he's kind of limited by the offense that they run with Houston. But yeah, that kid can play.
I'll tell you this. I want to be a GM in that draft room when when the justification for drafting a kid is he's better than Davion Mitchell.
I
That's
mean, hey, listen,
that's the
man.
justification I want to be able to give.
Davion Mitchell was a lottery
Uh,
pick. And I get it. They don't like drafting the 22-year-old or the 21-year-old guys, but 4-year player in college, like,
I
hey,
firmly
so
agree
was,
with you. I just think
Bridges and
I think it's a great being in that draft room for that. And
say
that's your
Davion. He's better than
justification.
Davion Mitchell. You know what? That's all right. You can hate if you want. That's okay. Perfectly
It's not
fine.
hate. It's just being a little surprised. That's all.
You can't
Um,
keep drafting 19-year-olds thinking everybody's going to turn into the next James Harden.
no,
It's not going to happen. Everybody's
you
not going
got
to
to
be the
keep
next Russell
drafting
Westbrook.
19. You got
No,
to keep
it's a
drafting
terrible
19
idea.
because they've got value. They've
Not in
got
the NBA.
value.
Not every 19-year-old is going to be the next Paul George. It's just
No,
not
you're
going to
not.
happen.
But if you real but
Think of
once you
soft boys.
see, but the problem is when you realize, look, think about it. The problem is if you have an Obi Toppin, and I'm using Obi Toppin because he
Yeah.
was an older player. Um, by the time you realize that he's not going to be a star for you, he's 26.
Hmm. Okay.
If you draft him at 19, and by the time you realize he's not going to be a player, he's 22. He's still got value in the trade market. He's still got value.
I'd like to point out that the Knicks did that with David Lee, and they were able to trade him for a first round pick.
Well, David Lee was a good player.
Uh huh.
You can't compare David Lee to Obi Toppin.
Why not?
David Lee's a better pro than Obi Toppin is. He's a better pro.
It's
He's
debatable.
a,
He was on a much better team.
he's a
Surrounded by
better
much better
pro.
talent.
No. He's a better pro. He's a double machine. He was a better pro. I'm not gonna
Yeah, if you say
disparage the
so.
name of David Lee over
Don't
Obi Toppin.
besmirch the name of David Lee. Good
No,
Lord, if we can't do
he
that.
was a
God
solid.
forbid.
He was a good NBA player, solid NBA
The
player.
great David
hmm
Lee.
You know? What the hell are you talking about here? The great David Lee.
He's a
All right,
solid
we're gonna go
NBA
to our
player.
shout outs. I bet he was. We're gonna go to our shout outs. And we're not gonna pick any games this week, y'all. I know we're a gambling podcast, but yeah, I've been tweeting out the picks if you want to tag along on us there, and also on our social gaming group on DraftKings. I've created one on there. You can follow us on there. I stay entering different things. I'm in a what is it, a daily fantasy $5 entry. First place is 100K for the Masters, which starts tomorrow. Tiger Woods will not be in it, but I have my one overall pick to win. This guy named Ludwig Arberg. I don't know anything about golf, but a guy named Ludwig winning the Masters just feels right to me. I don't know. It just sounds like he should win. So that's what I'm going with. And you got any shout outs this week?
Yes, before I do my shout outs, I just like to say rest in peace to one of the Batmans, Val Kilmer. Rest in peace to the greatest Lex Luthor of all time, Gene Hackman, and rest in peace to George Foreman as well. But as far as for my shout outs to Woody Johnson, please shut the fuck up. Because you're talking about that, the draft when you was talking about with Justin
Oh
Fields, you
my
was talking about the
God.
draft with Justin Fields. You were saying that after Trevor Lawrence, he was number two. Then why
I
the
told
Jets did
you.
not draft Justin Fields like I wanted to?
That was
I
hilarious.
just
I
had to
laughed like a good 5 minutes.
when the Jets decided to draft Zach Wilson, I had to just go along with it or whatever. But I don't know if you could even tell over this, Ace. Every time I was pissed off what the Bears was doing with Justin Fields and he finally got rid of him, I wanted Justin Fields to be on the Jets. But stupid ass Woody Johnson trying to act like like have it wipe his whole memory like Zach Wilson and and Blue Jet or Sky Blue, whatever the hell his parents that Zach Wilson owns, airline that Zach Wilson owns, your parents own, not grandfather whatever owns that he wasn't invested in or whatever. But anyway, shout
Oh,
out to you, Woody Johnson. Please shut the fuck up, go away, let AG and Muji do their thing. Don't no more interruptions. No more having your son, look at Madden ratings, all this other BS. Stay the fuck away. Go away. Nobody likes you. Shout out to you, man. You're the greatest. That's my shout outs for the
you guys
week.
going on the team one day. Yeah, shout out to Mike Malone and Taylor Jenkins, two head coaches in the NBA who got fired somehow on their days off. Like it's Friday and shit. I don't know. I've never seen this many head coaches just get fired randomly, and two white dudes too, which I guess blows my whole theory out the water. They'll fire anybody if they want a reason to get rid of you. They'll get rid of your ass. I don't know what it is. And they fired the Sacramento head coach earlier in the year, Mike Brown. There's only one head coach I kind of want them to get rid of, and unfortunately, he's not going nowhere. Uh, Shout out to Gilbert Arenas, who was celebrating because he thinks the Lakers are going to win a title because they fired Mike Malone because he had Denver just killing the Lakers every year in the playoffs. So shout out to him. That was pretty good. I was very entertained by his show the other day. That was interesting. And shout out to my UB Bulls women's basketball team for winning the women's NIT championship. The women's NIT championship, the first championship banner at the Division One level for the women's team since the 2019 team went to the Sweet 16 and upset some people as like I think they were a 12 seed, which was kind of shocking. Time lost to the eventual Final Four team in UConn, and shout out to them for winning another title. Shout out to Paige Beckers for getting it done. I was cheering for South Carolina, but I got to give it up. They really put the beat down on them. They did not let up. They had their foot down on that gas, and they just kept driving over them. It was not close. So yeah, shout out to them, and shout out to my Yankees for starting the season and actually being in the. Are they leading the division? I think I'm not even sure. I'll start paying attention to baseball when it gets warm outside finally, in like June or July. But yeah, those are all my shout outs. Malik, What you
Oh
got?
wait, before Malik goes, since you mentioned baseball,
Mm.
shout outs to the Yankees too for making a nice torpedo bat. Well, making it popular, I should say.
Yeah,
Torpedo bat
yeah.
away.
Apparently it existed before, but I didn't realize the baseball players are so good at cheating. They are amazing at cheating. They are finding new ways to cheat every year. I love
It's legal. It's not
It's
it. Of
legal,
cheating.
course
yeah.
it is.
It's
It's
legal
Of
as
course
long
it
as you
legal.
is.
measure it up
It's a
perfectly. It's
legal
legal.
Uh-huh.
bet.
Malik,
It's a
remember when you
legal
told me about
bet.
that baseball player who got like special glasses that outline the ball so that he could hit it
Yeah.
better? And
It's
then
It
the
legal.
was
league made it
it
illegal the very
right.
next year.
It wasn't banned. It wasn't banned.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't banned, he was able
Okay.
to do it.
Yeah,
They
as long
keep
as there's
finding
no
new ways
grease
to
or
cheat in
stickums or whatever
baseball.
like
I
that,
get it.
it's
It's
good.
it's not really cheating, but it feels like cheating. It's like it should be illegal, but technically you got over on it. It's like I said with Barry Bonds. He was using steroids and they didn't write the rule down. So they're like, all right, I guess we got to really enforce this one.
All I know is only the
So,
Yankees should be able to use it. And everybody else should just it'd be illegal if anybody else use it. Only the
I mean,
Yankees
they've
should
hit
be
like
using it.
30 home runs as a team in the first 2 weeks of the season. So, yeah, it doesn't feel like they should be able to keep doing this, but they're just amazing. So, yeah,
Now I know how
yeah,
Philly
keep doing
fans
it.
feel with the tush push. Keep the Yankees going with the torpedo
Keep
bat.
doing it. Keep doing it. Hire some more MIT scientists. Go ahead, Malik.
Yeah. So my first shout out, you guys see if you guys if I don't know if we're putting the video of this up, but we if we
We
do,
will. We
you
should.
guys
Yeah.
see me rocking the Oak Hill hat. My first shout out goes to newly minted Hall of Famer Carmelo Anthony. This is the Carmelo Anthony hat that I received. This
Yes.
somebody bought this for me, and it says Anthony there on the
Salute.
sideline with his number 22 from Oak Hill High
Hey,
School.
Mello.
Yes, love this hat, love this player. Look, there wasn't, people might knock him for they do knock him for any number of things that you want to knock him for, but one of the hardest players to guard in the NBA during his tenure, scorer from three-level scorer, 6'8", 225, bull of a player, amazing offensive talent, and he took on the challenge of coming to New York when a lot of players wouldn't. He took when again guys like LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and the list of guys goes on and on with regards to like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and these guys that had the opportunity to come and try to play in New York and try to bring a championship to a franchise that's been starving for one for a long time. He took it on himself, orchestrated a trade to come to New York and then led the team, for a number of years, still holds the Garden record for scoring with 62 points in a game on the Garden floor
Yes.
as a member of the Knicks.
I
First
remember.
ballot Hall of Famer, absolutely deserving of the honor, and I'm so happy that
Mhm.
that's been bestowed upon him. Stay mellow and rock out. Shout out to you, my brother.
Oh,
Shout
and
out.
shout out to Dwight Howard.
Yes,
Stuck
yes,
in there
fellow
with
Hall of
him.
Famer Dwight Howard, who's going to play in the Big Three for his last season of his basketball life. He's going to play in the Big Three. He just announced that yesterday, I believe. Shout out to Alex Ovechkin. I did a shout out for him about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the last time we recorded, because he was closing in on Wayne Gretzky's goal scored record. Well, he broke that record a couple of days ago, 895 and counting. Not sure if he's going to retire at the end of the season. He may, but he's still showing that he can do it. This is, in my opinion, never believed this award was going to be broken. This record was going to be broken. I still think Gretzky's uh, his points scored is never going to be broken. That's the
Oh
combination of
no.
goals and assists. That's never being broken. But the goals, I thought that was going to hang out too. This is the longevity award. Ovechkin. This
Do you know how many
doesn't
assists he
diminish.
has?
Yes, it's ridiculous. Um, it doesn't
1,900.
diminish. It doesn't diminish, Ovechkin's accomplishments. But to me, this is what longevity gets you. Eventually, you play this long and this well for this long, you wind up breaking some records that people believe would never get broken, i.e., LeBron James, Alex Ovechkin, Hank Aaron, so on and so forth. But Ovechkin's been great his entire career. He's one of the reasons I continued to watch hockey, in my 20s and 30s. So I'm glad to see him do it. Ace mentioned the
Bold.
NCAA championships. On the men's side, I'm going to give some shout out on the women's side. Paige Beckers, UConn women phenomenal player. Wish you got a chance to play against Juju. That would have been good to see, USC versus UConn. I
Yeah,
still think UConn would have won that game. But
yeah,
I would have liked to have seen the two of them square up with each other. But Paige, after everything she went through in college with the injuries and missing 2 years and all that stuff, like just to see her, close it out and get to, you know, walk off on the sunset and go into the draft, which again is April 14th. Like literally, it's in 4 days. The WNBA draft
yeah.
is it's freaking crazy. They just finished the damn
And
season, and the draft is literally
the
like
season
2 weeks
starts like
later.
March 31st.
Freaking ridiculous. Um,
May.
yeah, like end of May, end of May. So they're drafting in like 4 days. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, shout out to Paige, and look forward to seeing you in the W. The W again. We've had conversations about this. I think we're going to start talking about it maybe in the summer when when we're ramping things up on the football side. I'll definitely be talking about it because the WNBA is doing big things, and Paige is going to add to that. Um, shout out to John Morant. Hey, look, when they tell you you can't shoot fictitious guns on the
You
court
can't tell
anymore.
me nothing.
Now you can throw bombs on the court. Hey, look, they used to call Mr. Clark Crazy Joe, and now they call him Batman. So he brings a bat outside. So now you can call me Batman. You know what? Let's just do whatever you want to
I
do.
used
I'm
to
gonna
call him Crazy
double it.
Joe.
I'm gonna double it. I'm gonna go to the next level. He didn't get
I'm
fined
gonna
for the for
double
the
that.
for the explosive, for the bomb thing. I think right now, I think whatever you could come up with, have fun, enjoy yourself, and the NBA will just have to learn how to deal with the fact that
As
this
long
is
as
a
it's fake.
25, 26-year-old kid, and as long as it's fake and ain't nobody getting hurt, just do it. What I hope is the next time you do it in Memphis, throw the fake grenade and the crowd acts like they've all been blown
Scatters.
up. The crowd
Oh
scatters.
my
That would
God.
be amazing. Let's just do it together. Let's just do it together, or you make that and then you start the wave. That starts the wave or something like that. Let's bring it together. Let's make it all whole. Shout out to
Urgent
John Morant.
nonsense.
Shout out to John Morant for his ingenuity in celebrating his
Oh,
accomplishments. Um, and last but not least, Ace, you kind of went into it a little bit with the Yankees, but um, shout out to Major League Baseball and the Detroit Tigers. So recently,
the hell did they do?
well, this week, if you guys, the Yankees played the Tigers this week. They played on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The Tigers won the first two games. The Yankees won today. But all those games were during the day at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And the reason why they were all
Oh, because it was
rescheduled
snowing.
games
They were
is
playing in the
because it was
snow.
snowing in Detroit. The first game it snowed. It was
In
snowing in
April.
Detroit, and it was so cold for the evenings of those games that they switched those games to the
Day.
daytime just so that they could play it in the sun so that it would be too cold.
So it'd
Temperatures
be
in
40?
Detroit, temperatures in Detroit at night were in the teens, and temperatures in the
Jesus.
daytime were in the high 30s, low 40s. So they
The
switched the
Lions playing the
games.
dome for a reason.
So they switched the games to the daytime just so these guys could play in the 40s so they wouldn't have to play in the teens. See, this
Can
is
I ask you a
why the
question?
Detroit
Why do
Tigers
the
don't make
Minnesota Twins and the Tigers play outside? Are they just
what
fucking with people?
do you guys never want to play in the World Series? I mean, seriously. No.
I would love to see that happen. I
This
would
is
love to see the Minnesota Twins in the World Series against like the Milwaukee Brewers or
against,
something.
like, it would be ridiculous. It's
Just
the
cold on
worst
cold.
thing
These
in the
dudes wearing
planet.
long johns and shit, trying to
It's
hit doubles.
horrible. It's horrible. I played baseball as a kid. The last thing you want to do is hit a bit. You like to strike out in those situations. You don't want to hit that ball when it's 10 degrees outside and the ball's coming,
You were using a
90,
metal
80
bat
miles an
too.
hour. It's freaking crazy. It's horrible. So shout out to them, because this was probably the first game, and I can remember in a long time, where the Yankees were playing and there was nobody in the stands. Comerica Park has a capacity of 41,083 people. Yesterday's game between the Yankees and Tigers had a full capacity of 14,000 people showed up to this game.
Soccer
Game was
game.
over in game was over in 2 hours. Only 14,000 people showed up, and it looked like there were 4,000 people in that damn stadium. You could have gotten a front
Mm.
row seat for probably $14. with a hot dog, and with a $20 bill, you could have gotten a front row seat, a hot dog, a drink, and still had change left over for parking. Like seriously, it looked that's how crazy it looked. But shout out to Major League Baseball and the Detroit Tigers for doing what they got to do, getting that done. Yankees are in second place right now in the division. They're 7-5 behind Toronto. They're who's 8-5. It's still early, but I'm enjoying what I'm seeing so far. Go Yankees, and loving Major League Baseball. And we out.
Yeah, we out. Peace.
Recording
Peace.
stop.